I want you to picture two men at the same gym, in the same city, both in their early 30s. The first one pulls up in a leased BMW, fresh off the lot, payment due on the 1st of every month. He's wearing a designer hoodie, AirPods Max around his neck, a Rolex he financed through an Instagram ad he saw 8 months ago. He posts the car. He posts the watch. He posts the gym selfie with the caption, "Built different." People look at him and think, this guy has it figured out. Check his bank account, and you'll find $1,400. Check his credit card, and you'll find $11,000 of revolving debt at 24% interest. He is 3 missed paychecks away from his BMW getting repossessed in the night. The second man drives a 6-year-old Honda with 90,000 miles on it. He's wearing a plain t-shirt and sneakers he's had for 2 years. Nobody looks twice at him in the parking lot. Check his brokerage account, and you'll find $340,000, growing by roughly $2,800 every single month, whether he thinks about it or not. He owns his car outright. He has 11 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, untouched. Same gym, same age, same income bracket. Give or take a few $1,000s a year. One of them looks rich. The other one is rich. And if you asked 100 strangers in that parking lot to guess which one had more money, almost every single one of them would get it backwards. This isn't a story about income or luck or who got the better job offer out of college. It's a story about 9 invisible laws that quietly separate the people who are actually building wealth from the people who are just renting the appearance of it. Before we get into law number 1, if you're someone who's tired of looking the part and ready to actually build wealth, hit subscribe. This is Begin Success, and every week we break down exactly how money really works. No fluff, no get-rich-quick nonsense. Let's get into it. Let me give you the one idea that will change how you look at every dollar you'll ever earn for the rest of your life. Wealth isn't created by how much money passes through your hands. It's created by how much of it you let stop moving. Here's what I mean. Every dollar you earn has 2 possible futures. The first future is visible. It becomes a car payment, a vacation, a pair of sneakers, a bigger apartment. You can see it, touch it, post it. The second future is invisible. That same dollar gets invested instead, and it starts working a job you never have to show up for. The math is brutal if you ignore it. Take $500 a month. Spend it on lifestyle, and in 10 years you have nothing to show for $60,000 except memories and depreciated objects. Invest that same $500 a month at a historical market average of 10%, and in 10 years you have roughly $103,000. In 20 years, you have nearly $380,000. In 30 years, you're looking at over $1 million. From $500 a month that most people don't even notice leaving their account. That's the part nobody talks about. The guy with the leased BMW and the guy with the paid-off Honda might earn the exact same paycheck. But one of them is converting his dollars into things that lose value the second he drives them off the lot. The other is converting his dollars into something that compounds while he sleeps. This is the reframe. Every purchase you make isn't just an exchange of money for an object. It's a fork in the road between looking rich today and being rich in 10 years. Most people never consciously choose. They drift toward the visible future because it feels good immediately, and the invisible future never sends a notification reminding you it exists. The people who actually build wealth aren't smarter than everyone else, and most of the time, they don't even earn more. They've just internalized this one distinction, and they apply it automatically every single time money touches their hands. Once you see money this way, you can't unsee it. And that brings us to the first law. This leads us to the first wealth-building law that people who actually get rich follow religiously. Law 1. Calculate the true yield of everything you buy. Most people evaluate a purchase by one question. Can I afford the payment? That's the wrong question, and it's the question that keeps people broke at every income level. The right question is, what is this purchase actually yielding me? if anything at all. Here's how it works. Every dollar you spend is a dollar that stops compounding. So before any purchase over a few $100s, run this calculation. Take the price and ask what that same amount would be worth in 15 years sitting in an index fund instead. At a 10% average return, $10,000 today becomes roughly $42,000 in 15 years. That's not a number most people calculate before they swipe their card. It's the number that, once you start calculating it, makes you put half the things you wanted to buy right back on the shelf. Now here's the counterintuitive part. This law doesn't mean never spending money. It means separating purchases into two categories: those that yield something back to you, and those that simply cost you. A $4,000 used car that gets you reliably to a job paying $70,000 a year has a yield. It's enabling income. A $4,000 leased luxury SUV with a payment that eats 15% of your take-home pay has no yield. It's pure cost, dressed up to look like progress. People who look rich almost always optimize for the second category. They buy the appearance of success and call it an investment in themselves. People who actually get rich obsess over the first category. They will spend aggressively on things that generate yield: a reliable vehicle, a certification that raises their salary, a tool that saves them 10 hours a week, while looking almost cheap everywhere else. This is why you'll meet self-made millionaires driving unremarkable cars and wearing the same 3 shirts on rotation. They're not cheap. They're just allergic to spending money on anything that doesn't pay them back in money, time, or opportunity. Calculate the yield before you calculate the payment. That's Law 1. And it's just the beginning. Law 2. Separate your identity from your income. The moment your sense of self gets tied to your job title or your paycheck, every financial decision becomes emotional instead of strategic. You start spending to protect an image rather than to build a future. Counterintuitive example. The surgeon earning $400,000 who leases a new German sedan every 2 years to look the part often has less net worth than the plumber earning $90,000 who never felt the need to prove anything to anyone. Takeaway. The less your money is tied to your ego, the more of it you actually keep. Law 3. Treat debt as a tool, not a lifestyle. Not all debt is created equal, but most people use it the same reckless way regardless of the kind. A mortgage on a reasonably priced home or a loan for an asset that appreciates is leverage. A car payment or a credit card balance carried for consumer goods is a slow leak in your future. Counterintuitive example. Someone with a $300,000 mortgage and zero consumer debt is often far wealthier than someone with no mortgage but $40,000 spread across 4 credit cards. Takeaway. Ask what the debt is buying you: an asset or just a feeling. Law 4. Automate before you can talk yourself out of it. Willpower is a terrible long-term financial strategy because it runs out the moment life gets stressful or a new sneaker drops. The people who build wealth consistently remove the decision entirely by automating transfers to investments the day they get paid. Counterintuitive example. Someone investing $400 a month automatically, who never even feels the absence, will outsave someone who plans to invest whatever's left over every month, almost every single time. Takeaway. Automate the behavior, and you no longer need the motivation. Law 5. Stop benchmarking against your peer group. Your brain naturally compares your house, car, and vacations to the people around you. And that comparison is the single most expensive habit most people never notice. The people in your circle who appear to be doing the best financially are often the ones leveraged the most precariously. Counterintuitive example. The neighbor with the boat and the in-ground pool may be one missed bonus away from selling both, while you quietly outpace them in net worth wearing last year's jacket. Takeaway. Benchmark against your own past, not someone else's highlight reel. Here's where everything we've covered so far needs to click into a single idea, because this is the moment that actually separates the two groups we started with. People who get rich measure their wealth differently than everyone else. The conventional way to measure wealth is by what you can show. The car in the driveway, the watch on your wrist, the zip code on your mailing address. It's a measurement built entirely around other people's perception. And the cruel irony is that the harder you optimize for that kind of wealth, the further you usually get from the real thing. Because every dollar spent proving you've made it is a dollar that can never compound for you again. People who actually build wealth measure it by something almost invisible, optionality. Not what they own, but what they could choose to do tomorrow if they wanted to. Could you walk away from a toxic job without panicking about next month's rent? Could you take 3 months off to care for a sick parent without your finances collapsing? Could you say no to a client, a boss, or an opportunity that pays well but costs you your integrity? If the answer is yes, you are wealthy in the way that actually matters, regardless of what's parked outside your apartment. This is the part that should sting a little. The man with the leased BMW from the beginning of this video has almost zero optionality. Every choice he makes is downstream of a payment he's locked into for the next 4 years. He looks free. He is, in practice, one of the least free people in that gym. The man with the paid-off Honda can quit a job he hates on a Tuesday and still sleep fine on Wednesday. Nobody driving past either of them in that parking lot could tell you which one that was. Once you start measuring wealth by optionality instead of appearance, you stop chasing things and start chasing margin, the gap between what you earn and what you need. That gap is the only thing that has ever made anyone free. Not the income, not the title, not the car, the margin. Everything from here forward builds on this one shift. Now that you understand optionality and margin, here are the laws that actually build the system that creates them. Law 6. Pay yourself before the month has a chance to spend it. Once your transfers are automated, the next step is making sure investing happens before a single bill gets paid, not after. Treat your future self as the very first creditor on your list, ahead of rent, ahead of subscriptions, ahead of everything. This builds directly on automation. It's not just automatic, it's automatic and first in line. Law 7. Build your margin before you increase your lifestyle. Every time your income goes up, the instinct is to upgrade something. The apartment, the car, the wardrobe. The law is simple. Bank the raise for at least 6 months before you let your spending touch it. This protects the gap between income and expenses you just spent 5 laws building, instead of letting lifestyle creep erase it instantly. Law 8. Define your number before the world defines it for you. Decide, in writing, what amount of money actually represents enough for you. Enough income, enough house, enough car. Without a defined number, you'll keep moving the finish line every time you get closer to it, no matter how high your income climbs. With a number, every dollar earned past that point flows directly into the margin instead of into more stuff. Law 9. Protect your margin with a real emergency fund, not a credit line. A credit card is not an emergency fund. It's a loan with the worst timing imaginable, arriving exactly when you're already under pressure. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash, completely separate from your investments, so a single bad month can never force you to sell assets or go into debt to survive it. Law 10. Review your system quarterly, not once a year in a panic. Most people only examine their finances when something goes wrong, which means they're always reacting instead of steering. Build a habit of checking your numbers every 3 months. Income, expenses, investments, net worth, so small problems get caught while they're still small. This is what keeps laws 6 through 9 actually working instead of quietly drifting apart over time. These 5 laws don't replace the first 5. They're what makes them permanent. Let me make all 9 of these laws practical, because understanding them does nothing if you close this video and change nothing tomorrow. This week, pick one purchase you're currently paying off or considering. A car, a piece of furniture, a subscription, and run it through the true yield calculation from Law 1. Write down the actual number. What that same money would be worth in 15 years if it were invested instead. Don't act on it yet. Just see the number in black and white. Most people change behavior the moment the math becomes real instead of abstract. This month, set up one automatic transfer from your checking account to an investment account. Time to hit the same day your paycheck lands, before any bills go out. Start with an amount that won't break your budget. Even $100 a month counts, and treat it as non-negotiable, the same way you treat rent. This single action puts Law 4 and Law 6 to work simultaneously, because it's both automated and first in line. This quarter, calculate your current margin, your total income minus your total expenses over the last 3 months, and write your specific enough number from Law 8 underneath it. Compare the two. If your margin is small or negative, identify the single biggest expense driving that gap, whether it's a car payment, a lease, or a subscription you forgot you had, and make one decision about it before the quarter ends. If your margin is already healthy, decide where the next dollar of it goes: emergency fund, investments, or paying down high-interest debt. That's it. 3 actions, 3 different time horizons, and every single one of them is something you can start before you finish watching this video. You don't need to overhaul your entire financial life in one weekend. You need to run the yield calculation once, automate one transfer, and know your one number. The compounding happens on its own after that. Most people watch a video like this, feel motivated for about 20 minutes, and then go right back to their old habits because nothing concrete actually got scheduled. Don't be that person. Pick the action for this week right now, before you keep watching, and actually do it today. Let's go back to that gym one more time. The man in the leased BMW isn't a bad person, and he's not stupid. He just never learned to ask what a dollar was actually buying him before he handed it over. He spent years optimizing for a single afternoon's impression from strangers who will forget him by the time they reach their cars. And the system he's living inside of is more than happy to let him keep doing that, because his payments are someone else's profit. The man in the paid-off Honda isn't cheap, and he's not lucky. He just made 9 quiet decisions, over and over, long before anyone was watching. He calculated yield instead of affordability. He separated his identity from his income. He automated his future before his present had a chance to spend it. None of it looked impressive in the moment. All of it became undeniable over time. You're not avoiding the BMW, the watch, or the bigger apartment because you hate nice things. You're avoiding them because you've finally understood what they actually cost. Not the number on the price tag, but the years of compounding you'd be trading away for a few seconds of someone else's attention. That's the real distinction between the people who get rich and the people who only look rich. It was never about income, and it was never about luck. It was about which future they were quietly building every single time money passed through their hands. 9 laws. Calculate the yield. Separate your identity from your income. Treat debt as a tool. Automate before you can talk yourself out of it. Stop benchmarking against your peers. Pay yourself first. Build margin before lifestyle. Define your number. Protect it with real cash. Review the system every quarter, not once a year in a panic. None of these laws require you to earn more money than you currently do. They require you to start asking a different question every time you're about to spend it. That question is the entire difference between the 2 men in that parking lot, and it's the only thing standing between you and which one of them you end up becoming. So the next time you see someone who looks rich, remember what's actually parked behind that image. And maybe, just maybe, paying off your modest little Honda isn't looking so bad after all.